What do you say, everybody? With Kyle Henderson, I'm Mick Gillispie. It's Ole Miss, Alabama. We're at Innisfree.
We're at Innisfree, where you know what's about to go down. Alabama taking on Ole Miss. It's the primetime game of the week. The Tailgate Show starts now.
The BamaInsider Tailgate Show is on the air. Alabama football is rolling, and we've got you covered with a breakdown of the game matchup, an SEC preview, and all the fun of an afternoon on the quad. With BamaInsider Managing Editor Kyle Henderson, recruiting expert Andrew Bone, and former Crimson Tide Sports Network broadcaster and SEC Network play-by-play voice Mick Gillispie. The BamaInsider Tailgate Show is presented by Yuengling Lager. Yuengling, America's oldest brewery and the only beer you need at a Bama tailgate party. Pearl River Resort Casino and Hotel in Choctaw, Mississippi. Let's Play, now featuring the sports book at the Timeout Lounge. Also brought to you by the Floribama world-famous Beach Bar and Lounge in Orange Beach. Genesis of Tuscaloosa, luxury with a national championship service department. Sevierville, your Smokies start here. Tuscaloosa Hyundai, the longer you look, the more there is to like. Innisfree, an Alabama Irish pub tradition. Tuscaloosa Tourism and Sports, not too small, not too big. Tuscaloosa is pronounced just right. Commercial banker Jay Weber with Service First Bank. Hotel Indigo, Tuscaloosa's amazing upscale boutique lodging in downtown. NewLifeArt.com, publisher of fine art editions by Daniel A. Moore. R&R Cigar, the home of the Victory Cigar, with 2 locations in Tuscaloosa and Northport. And Screwball, the original peanut butter whiskey. Now, here are Kyle and Mick.
It's time for the BamaInsider Tailgate Show with Kyle Henderson. I'm Mick Gillispie. Here we go. We're getting ready for Alabama and Ole Miss. Our show's brought to you by Yuengling Lager, America's oldest brewery. And for the next 2 hours, we're going to talk about number 12, number 11 Ole Miss against number 1 Alabama. 2:30, the game will take place at Bryant Denny Stadium. And on the show today, we got Jeff Cameron from the College Sportsbook. We go over to rebelgrove.com and we bring in Neal McCready to give us a preview of the Rebels. We've got Chris Lowe, the senior writer from ESPN. He'll be here. And we've got Leonard's Loser. I'm Mick Gillispie, teaming up with the best in the business, Mr. Kyle Henderson. He's the managing editor of the Alabama Rival site. Our remote here at Innisfree is brought to you by Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey, the original peanut butter whiskey. Man, we're ready for some football.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to be here. We got the Innisfree live cam. If you're watching on our YouTube channel, if you're listening on the radio, get ready for an action-packed game. I think the total points is over 70 in this one. Last year was 63-48. Lane Kiffin versus Nick Saban is certainly the storyline going into this game. You got Matt Corral, you got Bryce Young, so many storylines to dive into, and I think I'm most curious to find out and to hear from our guests on the show what their take is between Lane Kiffin taking on Pete Golding's defense, right? I think over these last couple of years, everyone's been pointing the finger at Pete Golding. Now is the time for Pete Golding and this Alabama defense to really show what they're capable of. Eager to be on the show tonight talking Ole Miss, Alabama.
Let me tell you guys, too, as you hang out with us on the BamaInsider YouTube channel, like and subscribe. You're watching the recording of an Alabama pregame football show. This is like being behind the scenes for a recording, right? A show recording. We do it 6 to 8 on Friday before every Alabama game. Then we air it on Saturday across the state of Alabama, 9 to 11 on Jox 2. That's 100.5 in Birmingham and Tuscaloosa. We're on Fox Sports Shoals in Florence, across the state of Alabama. Roll Tide, and thank you for being here. All right, Kyle, the first thing I noticed when I got to Innisfree, I got to Tuscaloosa today, big game feel, man. This is a big game. This is the biggest feel for a game since COVID.
You know what? This is absolutely a big game, Phil. And if you're in Tuscaloosa, if you're within the region to get here, come here, support the Alabama Crimson Tide, just be a part of the atmosphere. I think it is the college football pageantry that we certainly missed from last year is back in full effect. So come be a part of it. Innisfree, a full crowd out on a Friday evening. Great to be here. And you know what? As I talked about earlier, the storylines are so intriguing with this one. And honestly, I feel that Alabama hasn't played a complete 4 quarters yet. So eager to see if they're able to do that here in week 5 against a very good Lane Kiffin coach team. You know, the storylines of Lane Kiffin, he coached under Nick Saban as an offensive coordinator. He's been around a couple of different places. And one thing that Lane Kiffin continues to do really well is get in front of the media. Look, we're talking about him right now. Right. But I mean, national headlines always about Lane Kiffin. He's done a great job with doing that. And he's also done a great job with Ole Miss's offense. Could he be the first coach to take down Nick Saban, the first former coach to take down Nick Saban? We'll have to see, because I think Alabama, you know, they've read the noise. They know what's out there, and eager to see if they can come be dialed in for this game.
The question I have for you, Kyle, is has Alabama versus Ole Miss become a rivalry?
I mean, yeah, I think so. I mean, you know, Oxford's not too far from Tuscaloosa. I think, you know, even though Alabama has controlled the series as of late, you look to those, you know, back-to-back seasons under Hugh Freeze when Ole Miss did beat Alabama. Is it a rivalry game? Yeah, I would say so. There's always some crazy scores in this game. I mean, it wasn't only last year. You look at kind of the past numbers that Alabama has put up in terms of offensive production. It seems like they're always scoring over 50 points or something like that. So, you know, a lot to say in terms of a rivalry game. You know, the natural rivalry is always going to be Tennessee, Auburn, those type of games. But, yeah, I think this game is sort of a rivalry game. And, you know, I know one thing. Alabama is certainly going to be in full effect for this game in terms of Bryant Denny Stadium.
The return of Lane Kiffin, that's one of the big storylines now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as we were just talking about, Lane Kiffin, with what he has coming back on the offensive side, you look at their overall production and how they scored, 43 points against Alabama last season. Matt Corral was a big component of that. Well, he's back. I feel he's, you know, probably the best quarterback in the SEC. Bryce Young's right there with him. You also got Snoop Connor, who played a pivotal role in last year's game. And then you got Ely as well. So all of those players who balled out against Ole Miss or against Alabama last season, they're back headed to Tuscaloosa. And, you know, we'll see if Pete Golding can stop those guys, because the offensive production from Ole Miss has been ridiculous.
This is the Bama Insider Tailgate Show with Kyle Henderson. I'm Mick Gillispie as we hang out at Innisfree and get ready for the Alabama and Ole Miss game. All right, 56-10-2. Bama's won 5 straight, but it feels like it's a little bit different. Even last year's 63-48
yeah, there you go.
victory for Alabama, it almost felt like a loss, kind of like the Florida game did this year. I mean, they won the game, but it wasn't the type of performance that you would expect from a Nick Saban team.
Well, I think the expectations are so high. And in today's world of college football, where every single team is scoring into the 40s, into, you know, over 6-7 touchdowns, you're like, what are the expectations? I think a lot of fans are still used to the Alabama defense, you know, prior to when this offense started putting up so many points on the board. Mm-hmm. So anytime that you start to see teams score against Alabama, you know, the expectations of our defense are simply perfection. That's why, I mean, you look to the past defensive coordinators and where they're at. Kirby Smart, right? He's a head football coach. Jeremy Pruitt was a head football coach for a little while. So the expectations are high on the defensive side, and also for Alabama. I mean, Nick Saban is a defensive-minded coach. He doesn't like points on the board. But, I mean, you look to the score right last year, 62-48 just blows my mind that there was that many points in that game. The total is 70 points. That's the prediction of the total points in this game, 70 points. I know a lot of people that are going over that for sure.
This is, as I mentioned before, the first real game at Bryant Denny since COVID, right? But is it that Alabama and Ole Miss are 2 of the best teams in the country, or is it that Lane Kiffin and Nick Saban have maybe one of the biggest coaching rivalries in college football?
I mean, I don't know if it's one of the biggest coaching rivalries, but I certainly think it is an intriguing storyline, as we've mentioned. I think that, you know, there's a reason that, you know, Clay Travis's truck is right outside of Innisfree. There's a reason that SEC Nation is here. They want to see, you know, these 2 offenses, these 2 programs. They want to see Alabama in action in front of a big-time atmosphere at Bryant Denny Stadium. I'll tell you what, the last game between Alabama and Southern Miss, great job, Alabama fans, for staying through the entire game. I know it's a night game. It's easier to go to because the humidity, the sun, whatever. But the fact that, you know, Bryant Denny Stadium has the lights, and I think one thing that the fans really are, appreciating this year is that they can be at the games.
Yeah.
Right? Because last year, who would have thought that we were never able to be at the stadium? I mean, these teams didn't get to play in front of fans last year. So that stadium is going to be absolutely ferocious. And Nick Saban said during his press conference on Wednesday that they need full fan support. We were talking about that earlier.
Yep.
The atmosphere at the Swamp was so loud that Alabama couldn't get their offensive cues. And I think the fans have to come heavy with it to, give that same impact to Ole Miss.
And we're going to talk about that later on in the show, kind of where we are as far as the SEC and around the country, as far as atmosphere for a home game in Tuscaloosa. The Bama Insider Tailgate Show is brought to you by Pearl River Resort and Casino in Choctaw. Now's a great time to make your picks count at the Timeout Sports Lounge and Sportsbook, or the Sportsbook at the Timeout Lounge, however you want to say it. Nick Saban versus Lane Kiffin. Nick Saban 23-0 against his former assistants.
Unbelievable.
We're going to talk about that when we come back. Don't go anywhere. We're getting you ready for Alabama and Ole Miss on the Bama Insider Tailgate Show.
Yingling Traditional Lager, the beer for drinkers who know how to soar higher and spread their wings. So prepare yourself for takeoff and let your night take flight. Liftoff. When your lips meet that cold, crisp amber lager, there's no looking back. So go for glory. Tonight's about the lager, and this lager is all about soaring higher. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings. DJ Yingling & Son, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please drink responsibly.
Thinking about trading or selling your current vehicle? Make sure you get more. Barry Buckner for Tuscaloosa Hyundai. It's been an amazing year, and to keep it going, we need your car. We'll buy your car even if you don't buy one of ours, and we'll pay you more for it. Trading or selling at Tuscaloosa Hyundai, get more. Corner of Skyland and Hargrove.
TuscaloosaHyundai.com. See dealer for vehicle value details.
The city of Tuscaloosa offers you the combination of great adventures and great overnight accommodations. From exciting sports to unbelievable history, you'll find it all in Tuscaloosa. Here for you, here for your whole family. Go hiking or mountain biking, try paddleboarding or kayaking, witness our civil rights trail or an ancient Native American city. Eat our barbecue or hamburgers, enjoy our nightlife or music scene. And when you plan your Tuscaloosa getaway, plan to stay a while. Head to visittuscaloosa.com for your free visitor's guide.
As the Tide embarks on their journey to the next title, celebrate with Daniel A. Moore's Tributes in Oil to the 2020 championship season. Unrivaled is Moore's commemoration of Alabama's national championship beatdown of the Buckeyes. And Heisman Heights portrays Devontae Smith's one-handed catch against LSU. Available individually or as a discounted championship season bundle. Visit DanielMooreArt.com or call 1-800-735-2787 to order your heirloom quality fine art print or canvas today.
Barry Buckner for Genesis of Tuscaloosa. You heard it said, affordable luxury. But when it comes to affordable service, every new Genesis we sell comes with 3-year, 36,000-mile complimentary service. If you want to pay more, that's your business. If you want to save, that's our business. GenesisofTuscaloosa.com.
Ownership limitations may apply. See your retailer for details. Genesis reserves the right to change program without notice. Exclusions may apply.
Game day will never be the same because Pearl River Resort is introducing all new ways to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. This is your ticket to Vegas-style sports betting, and it's game time. Place your bets on dozens of high-impact sports matchups anytime at the Timeout Lounge. And as always, play over 1,100 Vegas-style slots, 25 table games, and our 14-table poker room. Pearl River Resort is redefining what it means to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. We're not just fans. We're here to play.
You can't spell Alabama without the Bama. And you can't spell Floribama without the Bama. That's not the only thing that Alabama football and the Floribama have in common. There's heritage and pride. And, of course, keeping the fans happy. For 57 years, this iconic honky-tonk on the Alabama state line has been keeping our customers happy with the utmost attention on customer service. Great food, live music 365 days a year, and more events than we have time to list. Get the info you need at Floribama.com. Make your plans to join us on the line.
The Great Smoky Mountains area has some of the best fall drives in the nation. One of the most interesting and beautiful of these can be found on the way to Bluff Mountain. This fall, the best view is yours on Sevierville's Bluff Mountain Fall Driving Tour. Learn more and find additional fall drives to enjoy at visitsevierville.com/fall.
This is the Bama Insider Tailgate Show. It's brought to you by Yuengling Lager. Yuengling is a 6th-generation company, and Cheryl Yuengling, who's part of the company's ownership, is a proud Alabama grad. There's a little crimson love in each one of those green bottles. Also, try Flight, a low-carb, low-cal lager. It's so good with Kyle Henderson, the managing editor of BamaInsider.com. I'm Mick Gillispie. Great to have you with us as we get set to play Ole Miss. We're hanging out at Innisfree. Our show remote is brought to you by Screwball, the original peanut butter whiskey. Kyle, I'm going to have you on later in the show for a Screwball shot.
No. You know how I feel
Let's
about
do it.
The peanut butter whiskey is solid. Last time I had the shades on, so yeah, it's always smooth. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Lane Kiffin versus Nick Saban. I mean, this has kind of become something, right? And it goes back to when Lane Kiffin, that 1 year, 2009, was the head coach at Tennessee, right? 2009, he had Nick Saban, except Mount Cody came in and slapped the football away at the end, right? Alabama dominated. They didn't put him away. And then all of a sudden, Rocky Block happened.
I think when you look at the statistic that really stands out to me is the fact that Saban is 23-0 against former assistant coaches. That is just one stat that I think is one of the most mind-boggling stats in all of college football, because you think eventually somebody is going to get Saban. I mean, you just mentioned this game against Tennessee, but let's most recently go back to the games against Georgia. I mean, Kirby Smart thought he had Saban on the ropes not once but twice in monster-type games, and Saban was able to wiggle out of those headlocks, come back with a backup quarterback in each of those games to beat Georgia. Last year, I guess you could say that, Lane Kiffin maybe gave Saban a scare. I don't think that Alabama was maybe ever in real trouble in that game, but it was a scoring shootout. Kiffin has a lot of confidence. He feels that he can compete with Alabama. With that said, Alabama still has so many players on both sides of the ball that are 5-star and above, and the depth of this team. And the one reason I feel mainly confident for Alabama to beat Ole Miss once again is the fact that they haven't played their best game yet.
Right.
We continue to see Bryce Young playing at an extremely high level, 15 touchdowns, only 1 interception. But we really haven't seen, the running game really come to fruition. We really haven't seen Brian Robinson have a big breakout game. I don't know if he's going to. The wide receivers have been more the tight ends. The offensive line hasn't played their best, and the defense really hasn't played full quarters of play. So, and they're still undefeated at this point. I mean, they haven't lost in almost 700 days. I think eventually when this team does get to play and really put it together, I mean, this team has the makings to make a real run again.
2009, I mean, maybe that was a fluke, right? But last year's 63-48 game really proved that, what Lane Kiffin is doing against Nick Saban is, I mean, yeah, he hasn't beaten him. And in 2009, he wasn't even a former assistant at that point, right? Mm-hmm. But the guy has something that gets him this close to beating Alabama.
I think it's offensive production. I mean, you look at I've lived in Tuscaloosa for 5 years, right? That's 4 seasons, right? I've seen Alabama lose just 4 times, and the teams that have beat Alabama have done something on the offensive side in terms of tempo. Yeah. They've been able to, it hasn't been the teams haven't had defense. Yeah. It's that the teams have had more offense than Alabama. Right. So if this team, Ole Miss, has more offense than Alabama, then they win this football game, right? Matt Corral, Snoop Conner, Ely, their wide receiver who they return. Look, all those guys, if they can put it all together, they have a shot. You look at the Clemson team that beat Alabama. You look at LSU. You look at the 2 times that Auburn beat Alabama. Those teams had more offensive production. So if this team has more offensive production, they beat Alabama. With that said, this Alabama team is led by a sophomore quarterback who has played through the roof. Everybody wants him to run the football, which is odd. I mean, besides that Florida miscue where he could have just put his hand over the goal line, the guy's been flawless, right? Yeah. I mean, I get it. He's a sophomore. He's not perfect, but the guy, 15 touchdowns and 1 interception is really impressive through 4 games.
Yeah, no doubt. He's Kyle Henderson. I'm Mick Gillispie. Like and subscribe as you watch on the Bama Insider YouTube channel. And if you're listening across the state of Alabama, maybe from our flagship station, Jocks 2, 100.5, Tuscaloosa, Birmingham. Roll Tide, everybody. Thanks for being here. Alabama, Ole Miss, 2:30. All right, Lane's not so graceful exit from Tuscaloosa not so graceful exit from Knoxville, from USC, from the Raiders, right? Michael Wilbon from PTI on ESPN. Lane is a clown.
Yeah. I mean, I think everybody's going for clicks at this point, trying to get in the headlines. Is he a clown? I mean, that's not for me to say. I mean, I don't really, have any – I've never even met Lane Kiffin. I don't know. I mean, what I know is from his coaching ability and what he's been able to do, and he wouldn't be put in those positions if other people didn't believe in him. Look, Coach Saban said that all this week that he learned something from Kiffin on the offensive side, and I think that that's true because you look at the ever since Bryant DeBall took over Alabama, something changed with the offense, right?
Yeah.
This team is now an offensive juggernaut, where before I think there were kind of 3 yards in a cloud of dust, so to speak. So I think that, after kind of learning from Lane, I think that Saban knew that he has to turn it up. And that's one thing that Georgia, for example, has never been able to do, right? Georgia's still a 3 yard and cloud of dust team, heavy on defense, but they don't have the offensive production that Alabama's been able to change. And that's credit to Nick Saban. Nick Saban going to be 70 this month on the 31st. He's been able to change that offensive philosophy. Maybe that is from Kiffin. Maybe it is from some of these other offensive-minded coaches. And I think with Coach Saban being a defensive-minded coach, that was tough for him to do, but he did it, and look what it's done for Alabama.
For those of you that are watching right now on the Bama Insider YouTube channel, shout out to Bombs for the super chat. That's just like giving us a tip for doing the show.
Appreciate you, Bombs.
You guys that are listening on radio, you need to swing over to the Bama Insider YouTube channel and hang out with us there where you can watch and listen at the same time. Can Ole Miss win this game with less talent? Now, Hugh Freeze had top recruiting classes that were on par with Alabama, LSU, and everyone, and it led to 2014 and 2015 wins over the Crimson Tide, and the last team to beat Alabama at home, Ole Miss, right?
Yeah.
So that's 2015. Alabama hasn't lost at home since.
The LSU game was at home.
Oh, the LSU.
Yeah.
Okay.
But besides that, you're right.
Besides the game of the century.
Sure,
you're exactly
yeah,
right.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
When the president was here and all that. Yeah. So 2015, they had back-to-back wins. One was on the road, one was at home, right? So I think the was it the 15 game that was here with the balls bouncing off the helmets and everything? Anyway, can they win with less talent?
I guess. I mean, that's a hypothetical, right? Saban would be mad if you asked that question. For me, I guess. I mean, did they have really less talent? I mean, Matt Corral, he's certainly a baller. But I think from the defensive side, too, how is Ole Miss going to stop Alabama? Last year, when you look at the statistics, the player of the game really was Najee Harris. Najee Harris rushed for over 200 yards in this game. Ole Miss didn't have an answer to stop Najee. Now, Brian Robinson is not Najee Harris. Brian Robinson does a great job running downhill. We've talked about this before. Jace McClellan could be the player to really keep your eye on in a game like this. I think he runs hard, catches the football very well out of the backfield, and I really like the two tight end set. Jalil Billingsley, I think we're just getting early taste of what could come from him. I think he's going to be clutch in games going down the stretch. I think he's going to be clutch on Saturday against Ole Miss, and I think Cameron Latou, man, him and Bryce have a special connection. I think they have some sort of good cohesiveness. Cameron Latou scored 4 touchdowns, and he kind of has just a good aura about him. Remember last game, John Mechie jumps in the end zone, pops out, and Cameron Latou just picks up in the end zone for a touchdown.
I know. That's the kind of year he's having so
exactly,
far, right?
Yeah.
Well, look, is this just another game for Nick Saban? Or if not, how does he approach this one?
That's a really good question, because I think – he would just say, one game at a time, kind of coach speak.
Yeah, right.
But look, anytime you're facing a former assistant, you don't want them to beat you, because Saban, is the dog, right? He's the big dog of all these coaches, and he is so competitive. Whether it's, driving his vehicle, whether it's playing basketball, all this stuff, playing golf. Like, Saban is super, super competitive, and I guarantee you it's probably more than a game. And he'll probably never say it, but I bet you this is more than a game against Ole Miss.
We're expecting Lane Kiffin to unload the kitchen sink.
Of course, yeah. He's the type of coach that goes for it on 4th down. He's, probably will out some 2-point conversions.
Right.
I don't know if he's going to do an onside kick or anything like that, but the guy is certainly – he's going for it. He's going for the win. He's not going to play conservative. He knows that points are going to beat Alabama. It's not going to be defense that beats Alabama. It's going to be points, as we said earlier in the show.
He's Kyle Henderson. I'm Mick Gillispie. This is the Bama Insider Tailgate Show. Show's brought to you by Tuscaloosa Hyundai, the Elantra, the Sinatra, or an SUV like the Tucson. Tailgating doesn't get any better. Swing over and see our buddy Barry Buckner. He's an honest guy. He'll take good care of you. You tell him Mick sent you. I promise you, if you're looking for a new car or if you have a used car that you're looking to sell, go by and see Barry. You won't be disappointed. Neal McCready from rebelgrove.com will join us next segment. We're going to preview this Ole Miss team. I think this is a rivalry game. This is, to me, in all my years being around Alabama, following the program, the first time that I've really considered this a rivalry game. And Neal's going to tell us why when we come back.
Introducing Flight by Yingling, a next generation of light beer. For those who don't follow trends, but craft them. Flight by Yingling is 12 ounces of uncompromised refreshment from America's oldest brewery. With only 2.6 grams of carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Don't just raise a glass, raise the bar. Flight by Yingling. Now available wherever beer is sold. DG Yingling and Son Incorporated. Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please enjoy responsibly.
Thinking about trading or selling your current vehicle? Make sure you get more. Barry Buckner for Tuscaloosa Hyundai. It's been an amazing year, and to keep it going, we need your car. We'll buy your car even if you don't buy one of ours, and we'll pay you more for it. Trading or selling? At Tuscaloosa Hyundai, get more. Corner of Skyland and Hargrove.
TuscaloosaHyundai.com. See dealer for vehicle value details.
R&R Cigars invites you to the Cigar Mansion in downtown Tuscaloosa, or the newest location in Northport in the Winn-Dixie Shopping Center. Now 2 awesome locations serving Tuscaloosa and Northport. The best cigar selection and bourbon in the Southeast awaits you. R&R Cigar is your home for all sports. Outsource your man cave to R&R. Get a cigar in Yingling for $10 when you tell them Mick sent you. 2703 6th Street, downtown Tuscaloosa near Home 2 Suites, or Northport next to Winn-Dixie. TheCigarMansion.com.
Do you consider yourself a black sheep, misfit, or screwball? If so, we've got the perfect drink for you. Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. Screwball combines 2 of America's favorite, peanut butter and whiskey. Enjoy it neat, on the rocks, or in your favorite cocktail. Screwball, the original most awarded peanut butter whiskey, is now available near you. Go to screwballwhiskey.com for more information. Enjoy responsibly.
Advertisement by Screwball Spirits, LLC, San Diego, California. Whiskey with natural flavors, 35% alcohol by volume.
Barry Buckner for Genesis of Tuscaloosa. You heard it said, affordable luxury. But when it comes to affordable service, every new Genesis we sell comes with 3-year, 36,000-mile complimentary service. If you want to pay more, that's your business. If you want to save, that's our business. GenesisofTuscaloosa.com.
Ownership limitations may apply. See your retailer for details. Genesis reserves the right to change program without notice. Exclusions may apply.
Big winnings are brewing at Silver Star and Golden Moon Casinos. Join us for Witches Riches this October and win your share of $50,000 in cash and bonus bet prizes. Be one of 5 lucky winners every Friday and Saturday in October. Drawings every hour from 7 p.m. until 11 p.m. where you can win $500 in bonus bet or $3,000 cash. This October, only at Silver Star and Golden Moon Casinos, Pearl River Resort Properties.
The Great Smoky Mountains area has some of the best fall drives in the nation. One of the most interesting and beautiful of these can be found on the way to Bluff Mountain. This fall, the best view is yours on Sevierville's Bluff Mountain Fall Driving Tour. Learn more and find additional fall drives to enjoy at visitsevierville.com/fall.
Do you consider yourself a black sheep, misfit, or screwball? If so, we've got the perfect drink for you. Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. Screwball combines 2 of America's favorite, peanut butter and whiskey. Enjoy it neat, on the rocks, or in your favorite cocktail. Screwball, the original most awarded peanut butter whiskey, is now available near you. Go to screwballwhiskey.com for more information. Enjoy responsibly.
Advertisement by Screwball Spirits, LLC, San Diego, California. Whiskey with natural flavors, 35% alcohol by volume.
Welcome back to the Bama Insider Tailgate Show as we get you ready for Alabama and Ole Miss, 2:30 at Bryant Denny Stadium. And just a second, we're going to talk with Neal McCready of rebelgrove.com about the Ole Miss Rebels led by Lane Kiffin. But before we do that, let me remind you that this segment is brought to you by our friends at Hotel Indigo. That is my official spot when I'm in Tuscaloosa. So every game day Saturday, I'm hanging out, as you can see there if you're watching on the Bama Insider YouTube channel, and I know a lot of you are, the Rooftop Bar. And if you're listening on Jocks 2 or around the state of Alabama, let me tell you, it's unbelievable. Right on the Black Warrior River. It's a very comfortable spot. It's luxurious, and in every Hotel Indigo has its own distinct look, and this one is right next to the bridge that goes across the Black Warrior River from Tuscaloosa to Northport over there by City Cafe, and it's moments away from, walking distance or maybe a quick golf cart to the football stadium and downtown Tuscaloosa, the Strip, and all of the game day amenities. All right. Well, look, it's great to talk with Neal McCready from Rebel Grove. First off, Neal, always good to see you. How you been?
Mick, I'm good. It's always good to be with you. Big fan of your work, both here and with the Cubs. So, as you know, and you and I talked about, I'm a huge Cubs fan. So, I've always kept up with you. It's an honor to be with you.
Hey, thank you so much. Let's talk about this football game that is going to take place, Alabama and Ole Miss. I feel like for the first time with Lane Kiffin there, Alabama is taking Ole Miss seriously, and I'm not even counting the 2 wins in 14 and 15. I think people were like, oh yeah, they got a chance to beat Alabama after last year's game, and knowing what Lane Kiffin brings to the table. This one is, I feel like, the biggest one that I can remember.
It's funny. I have to tell people, I have to remind people, because during all this COVID craziness and all this stuff, I think people forget 2019. I think like the world reset at 2020 or something. People forget it on November, whatever that was, Thanksgiving night of 2019, when Elijah Moore did the unsportsmanlike conduct penalty with the dog piss thing in the end zone at the end of the Egg Bowl. And then Luke Logan misses the extra point, and they lose the game, and Matt Luke gets fired, and all of those things happen, Mick. And I think people forget, for about 24, 48 hours there, Ole Miss was the laughingstock of college football. They were completely irrelevant other than Elijah Moore doing a fake dog urination. That was it. That was what they were known for. They were known for a antic in the end zone that got 7 penalty flags within 2 seconds. Look where they are today. They're headed to Tuscaloosa. They're 12th in the country. I know polls don't mean a lot at this point, but they're relevant. ESPN had a crew here earlier this week to talk about Lane Kiffin and Matt Corral and all that stuff. No matter what happens Saturday, they are appointment television because of the style of play that they have with Kiffin and Corral and Jeff Lebby, and they score points in bunches, and they go fast, and they're kind of interesting, and they're fun, and people are excited. And I think people forget that's less than 24 months removed from being a complete joke. And it's a remarkable testament to what Lane has done here. And, I know we're going to talk about the game against Alabama and stuff, but I sometimes I have to remind people of that from a perspective standpoint, that when people start in with is this a must-win game, and what happens? I'm like, whoa, hold up. You're going to play the best program in the country that has dominated the sport for the last, 15 years, roughly, give or take a year. And look where you are. Alabama is absolutely taking you seriously, because, quite frankly, if you overlooked this team, and Alabama won't, but if you overlooked this team, you would be in real jeopardy, not only of losing, but of getting embarrassed. This is a quality offense. This is a much improved defense. This is a very good coaching staff, and it is a team that has taken on Lane Kiffin's personality in a lot of ways. This is Mick. This is a good Ole Miss football team. People have a tendency to make kind of a cartoon character of it, and they're legit.
Let's talk about Matt Corral, Jerry and Ely, Drummond, Mingo, this offense. And I guess you really have to start with Corral, but those guys that are built around him as well. This is the number one offense right now in the country.
Yes, I think you have to start with Kiffin and Jeff Lebby, personally. Now, I'm going to talk about Corral in a minute, because I have long advocated for Corral, and sort of scratched my head at the media stupidity in 2019. I'm not a giant media fan, as you know. The whole John Rice Plumlee love affair that the media, and this is not about John Rice. He's a really nice kid, and he's going to be a very successful person in the real world one day. I mean, John Rice is just a great guy, comes from a great family. He's a great person. So this is not a slap at him. But the people that were like, oh, John Rice Plumlee, SEC quarterback, it's going to revolutionize. Well, stop. Ole Miss in 2019, the only time they scored some points against Alabama after Alabama was up 49-7 or something. They played Auburn in Jordan-Hare, if I recall correctly, and Auburn was up 35-0. I think Auburn was going to LSU the next week. And so Malzahn basically got everybody out of there because they had a bigger game. And Plumlee scored a bunch of points, and it ended up being like 38-24 or something. I don't know the numbers. And everybody was doing this media thing. I mean, the media were going crazy about Plumlee. They were about to run Matt Corral off. Matt Corral has an NFL arm. He has a generational arm, Mick. I mean, this kid can make every throw. Has a great deep ball. He has absolutely embraced the Lane Kiffin offense. But you guys in Tuscaloosa remember this. This is the genius of Kiffin, and I think it speaks volumes to who Nick Saban is. That Nick Saban brought Lane Kiffin in when he did and said, here are the keys to a degree. I mean, Saban said, look, it's my program, make no mistake, and we're going to do this my way. But here are the keys, and this is what I want you to do. And Kiffin did it. And so one year they built an offense around a running back. One year they built an offense around a wide receiver. He won with different types of quarterbacks. Lane Kiffin can take and Jeff Lebby too, who's going to be a head coach one day, probably sooner rather than later. They can take offensive tools and fit their offense around those tools, as opposed to some of the coaches who ultimately struggle. Mike Leach comes to mind. Gus Malzahn to some degree comes to mind. Of nope, this is what we're going to do, and I'm going to jam this tool into this square into this hole, or this hole into this square. I'm going to make this fit. It's not what Kiffin does. So last year they built an offense around Elijah Moore. Elijah's with the New York Jets now. This year they're building the offense around more of the bigger wideouts, the running backs. And you mentioned some of the names. They've got weapons. Jerry and Ely's a fast guy. Gave Alabama fits a year ago. Henry Parrish Jr. is a guy that they're super high on. They have Snoop Connor, who's kind of a banger between the tackles. And last year they did a lot of stuff with Elijah Moore out of the slot. This year it's more wideouts, more big receiver looks with Jonathan Mingo, with Dontario Drummond. Braylon Sanders is a deep threat that you have to always account for. And, they've used Plumlee a little bit in the slot. It hasn't been super successful yet. I think they have some other wrinkles that you're going to probably see some Saturday, but it's a dangerous offense. And they're not elite up front, but they're good up front. And they have a couple of future pros up front, Nick Broker, Ben Brown. Orlando Amana, the Utah transfer, came in at center and sort of solidified that offensive line. They're solid up front, not particularly deep, but solid. They're not getting much out of the tight end position yet, but it's a dynamic offense. I mean, they have so far come out of the gate in all three games just scoring points, and now playing Alabama is a different animal, but they're dangerous, and the tempo makes them even more dangerous because they can get going and they can score in bunches.
He's Neal McCready. You know him from rebelgrove.com. That's the Ole Miss rival site, and our buddy here on the BamaInsider Tailgate Show. All right, let me quickly talk about the defense. Tuscaloosa native Jock Jones had 75 tackles last year, led the team in tackles, transferred, though, to Kentucky. I mean, I feel like he got out at the wrong time, but this defense hasn't really missed a beat so far without him. How is this defense right now? I still feel like we're not totally sure who they are, but right now, I mean, through the three games, they've done a nice job. I think they're like 37th nationally, right? And that's really good compared to where they were last year. I mean, Alabama's got every single yard but like 52 a year ago, right? I just don't think that's going to happen again.
I think it was less than that. Alabama had 723 yards of offense last year in Oxford.
Wow.
723 yards of offense. It was unbelievable. Yeah, Ole Miss couldn't stop anyone last year. They were deplorable on defense. They got a little bit better late in the year when Otis Reese was eligible, but it was negligible, right? And so they were 117. And so all offseason I would get asked, are they going to be better on defense? And the answer was yes. They're going to be better on defense, but how much better? Like 40 points better? 50 spots better. Even if you're 50 spots better, you're still 67th. That's not enough to beat good SEC teams. So a couple of things have happened. Sam Williams at defensive end has been far more consistent. He's a very talented player. You have to account for him. He's in the past, he would take plays off. He would take series off. At times, hell, he would take games off. He so far this year, he hasn't done that. They brought in Chance Campbell, a linebacker from Maryland, who has been a complete difference maker for them. He's really solidified them on defense. He's athletic. He can get side to side. He'll play at the next level. I think they missed Jacquez Jones, but Jones, I think, left because Campbell came in and it was pretty obvious who was going to get the start there. And he's done well at Kentucky. But then they have a lot more depth in the back end. Mm-hmm. A year ago, they were so bad in the secondary, and they were thin. They've added some freshmen. They added a JUCO transfer. Otis Reese has a full year. Jake Springer, the Navy, transfers in. A big physical player. They moved a player from corner to safety. It's a better fit there. So, they're a better defense. But I'm with you completely. I'm not ready to go, oh, yeah, man, they're a great defense. I'm not ready to say that. I want to see what they look like against a dynamic offense like Alabama. And then the other thing I want to see against Louisville and against Tulane, forget Austin Peay. That was kind of like the Mercer game for Alabama. You take nothing out of those games. You just record them. But against Tulane and Louisville, I think both of those teams came into the game with an attitude of, we're going to run at these guys and see if they can handle it. And then they fell behind. And then they fell way behind. And they couldn't keep up. And so they got away from that passive running attack and got into a passing attack, and the games got away from them. Ole Miss isn't going to run away from Alabama, obviously. Mm-hmm. So Alabama's going to probably, I would think, establish some run, try to get some play action, try to do some RPO stuff, and that's something we haven't seen how this defense handles it. I have no doubt, Mick, that they'll handle it better than they did a year ago. Alabama's not going to get 723 yards of offense, but can they handle it well enough to actually win a game in Tuscaloosa? I've got a lot of questions there.
Thanks so much, Neal.
Hey, thanks, Mick. I appreciate you.
Awesome talking with Neal McCready from rebelgrove.com. A couple things, guys. Don't forget, after the show and after the game tonight, check out Kyle Henderson, Trey Yannity, and me. We will be on the Bama Insider YouTube channel. The post-game show will be taking calls, and we'll have Nick Saban post-game press conference comments as soon as the game is over. And again, that's at Bama Insider YouTube. The Bama Insider YouTube channel. And don't forget this right now. Daniel Moore's Unrivaled is available. He's got it, newlifeart.com. That's the print from last year's national championship featuring Nick Saban, Mac Jones, Smitty's on there, the entire crew. It's a really cool one. After some delays, they've got it out. If you've ordered yours, it'll be on the way soon. And if you haven't, you need to get one before they're gone. When we come back, we've got Andrew Bone, we've got Chris Lowe. We got a lot more coming up on the show, so don't go anywhere. More Bama Insider Tailgate.
Yingling Traditional Lager, the beer for drinkers who know how to soar higher and spread their wings. So prepare yourself for takeoff and let your night take flight. Liftoff. When your lips meet that cold, crisp amber lager, there's no looking back. So go for glory. Tonight's about the lager, and this lager is all about soaring higher. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings. DJ Yingling & Son, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please drink responsibly.
Thinking about trading or selling your current vehicle? Make sure you get more. Barry Buckner for Tuscaloosa Hyundai. It's been an amazing year, and to keep it going, we need your car. We'll buy your car even if you don't buy one of ours, and we'll pay you more for it. Trading or selling at Tuscaloosa Hyundai, get more. Corner of Skyland and Hargrove.
TuscaloosaHyundai.com. See dealer for vehicle value details.
The city of Tuscaloosa offers you the combination of great adventures and great overnight accommodations. From exciting sports to unbelievable history, you'll find it all in Tuscaloosa. Here for you, here for your whole family. Go hiking or mountain biking, try paddleboarding or kayaking, witness our civil rights trail or an ancient Native American city. Eat our barbecue or hamburgers, enjoy our nightlife or music scene. And when you plan your Tuscaloosa getaway, plan to stay a while. Head to visittuscaloosa.com for your free visitor's guide.
As the Tide embarks on their journey to the next title, celebrate with Daniel A. Moore's Tributes in Oil to the 2020 championship season. Unrivaled is Moore's commemoration of Alabama's national championship beatdown of the Buckeyes. And Heisman Heights portrays Devontae Smith's one-handed catch against LSU. Available individually or as a discounted championship season bundle. Visit DanielMooreArt.com or call 1-800-735-2787 to order your heirloom quality fine art print or canvas today.
Barry Buckner for Genesis of Tuscaloosa. You heard it said, affordable luxury. But when it comes to affordable service, every new Genesis we sell comes with 3-year, 36,000-mile complimentary service. If you want to pay more, that's your business. If you want to save, that's our business. GenesisofTuscaloosa.com.
Ownership limitations may apply. See your retailer for details. Genesis reserves the right to change program without notice. Exclusions may apply.
Game day will never be the same because Pearl River Resort is introducing all new ways to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. This is your ticket to Vegas-style sports betting, and it's game time. Place your bets on dozens of high-impact sports matchups anytime at the Timeout Lounge. And as always, play over 1,100 Vegas-style slots, 25 table games, and our 14-table poker room. Pearl River Resort is redefining what it means to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. We're not just fans. We're here to play.
You can't spell Alabama without the Bama. And you can't spell Floribama without the Bama. That's not the only thing that Alabama football and the Floribama have in common. There's heritage and pride. And of course, keeping the fans happy. For 57 years, this iconic honky-tonk on the Alabama state line has been keeping our customers happy with the utmost attention on customer service. Great food, live music 365 days a year, and more events than we have time to list. Get the info you need at Floribama.com. Make your plans to join us on the line.
The Great Smoky Mountains area has some of the best fall drives in the nation. One of the most interesting and beautiful of these can be found on the way to Bluff Mountain. This fall, the best view is yours on Sevierville's Bluff Mountain Fall Driving Tour. Learn more and find additional fall drives to enjoy at visitsevierville.com/fall.
Say it right now. Back on the Bama Insider Tailgate Show with Kyle Henderson. I'm Mick Gillispie. Great to hang out with you guys as we talk to you live from Innisfree in Tuscaloosa. And we are currently hanging out right now. This remote is presented by Screwball, the original peanut butter whiskey. The show's always presented by Yuengling, and there's a lot of that going on right now at Innisfree. Big game feel, Kyle.
Yeah, certainly. It's got the big game feel. I mean, SEC showdown right here in beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Where else would you want to be, right? I mean, 2:30 kick. I mean, the atmosphere is going to be completely electric. We've talked about the storylines that are emerging to us. I think I'd like to talk about some impact players if I could. I mean, honestly, when you kind of look about, to this game, I mean, one name that if you're out there, if you're driving, if you're listening on the radio, is Jaleel Billingsley. I keep harping on his name. You look at kind of the early season production, don't worry about that. I think he's going to emerge as one of the bigger targets throughout the season. I think that I'm also kind of wondering about John Mechie. You've had these pass wide receivers that have been first-round draft picks. Is John Mechie cut from that same cloth? Is it going to be Jamison Williams? Yeah, I mean, I know when you look to the statistical standpoint, he has some production, but a lot of it, 94 yards, is off one particular play. So have the wide receivers taking a step back? I think we're going to find out on Saturday.
This segment's presented by Genesis of Tuscaloosa, right there on the corner of Skyland and Hargrove Road. I'll tell you what, you go over there, you see Barry Buckner. When he sells you one of those Genesis cars, it doesn't end there. You need it serviced. They come to your house, drop off another car, bring it back. It's the best service department in the country, just like Alabama's football team. Kyle, there's something that might not be the best in college football in Tuscaloosa. There's been a big debate here, okay? And it's home field advantage. I heard Wimp Sanderson, the former basketball coach, say that he thought the home field advantage for Alabama, the crowd noise, just the presentation was better when Alabama used to play in Legion Field, Birmingham. And I heard him say that today, and I agreed. I saw a lot of games there. I saw Iron Bowls there. I used to be all the big games there. I feel like in Tuscaloosa sometimes people don't want to stand up. They don't want to cheer. It gets loud, but it's after watching what Florida's fans did to Alabama earlier this year, I want to see Alabama bring that kind of an atmosphere to the game on Saturday.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with that take. I mean, Legion Field compared to Bryant Denny Stadium, I don't really like that take in my opinion. I don't really agree with it. I never saw a game at Legion Field, so but I don't agree with it because you look at Bryant Denny Stadium and you kind of look at the lights and what they've added. They're trying to re-gentrify the fan base, I think. And as we're going to talk about kind of the music selection and all this stuff, but the thing about it is Alabama fans are spoiled, right? I mean,
no doubt.
Every single day it's Christmas for Alabama. Like a 5-star is the norm. Where, like, let's say Kentucky got a 5-star. They would have a parade through Lexington, right? I mean, every single thing with Alabama, and it's spilling over to the NFL. I mean, every single game you watch, all Alabama players, right? Yeah. The team hasn't lost in nearly 700 days. I think you can sit down and clap for a 94-yard touchdown. They can return 2 kicks for touchdowns, and a lot of it too has to do with the schedule. The schedule and next year's schedule is abysmal. Utah State, University of Louisiana Monroe. I mean, these type of scheduling situations don't make me want to cheer up and down. Now, this game will have a heartbeat. People will be excited to see it, but I'm not getting up for Mercer. I'm not getting up for Southern Miss. I mean, look, Saban has wanted an all-SEC schedule. Right. We saw it last year, and it was fun every single week. I get it. They still ran through Kentucky, Mississippi State, but a lot of it has to do with these games. Alabama is playing on another level than college football. People can't keep up. It's not their fault. Nick Saban is so dialed in, and he's put Alabama so far from it that the atmosphere, it's a spoiled fan base.
Let me just paint the picture for you. 1996 was my first Alabama game. It was the Iron Bowl in Tuscaloosa. Dennis Riddle scored the touchdown with 37 seconds left to tie the game. The extra point won it for Alabama, 24-23. When he scored the touchdown, I thought the upper deck, it was swaying. Yeah. It was swaying like this. Like, I remember as a kid listening to the Redskins play in D.C., and they used to talk about old RFK, that the upper deck would sway. I saw it. I was like, oh, my gosh, like, this thing is really moving. Like, you could feel the ground shaking there. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that Bryant Denny isn't like that at times. When Alabama blocked the kick to beat, the Tennessee, it was so loud. Some of the Iron Bowls have been loud too. But I'm just saying that they need to do something to generate a little bit more noise, a little bit more excitement. And one of the things that they're talking about doing is changing up the music at Bryant Denny Stadium. I didn't realize that we had a problem with the music. I mean, look, I'm a big Dixieland Delight fan, but what do you think they can do in that aspect to get people into the games more? I don't know. I mean,
the team is too much of a buzzsaw. I mean, I get it. They're trying to figure out the music and stuff, and I get it. I've been, to plenty Alabama games, and the music is absolutely terrible. I mean, it's boring. It's it doesn't really get you hyped. Like go to an LSU game. I think they had a DJ. Honestly, like they were on that level.
Right.
But I like I said earlier, I think they're trying to re-gentrify. Like the lights took the stadium overboard. It was amazing to see the lights in action and for a night game. But also the team is too good. Like give these fans something to cheer for. And that's something against Alabama. Like Nick Saban has built, one of the greatest college football dynasties ever. Like Florida, you get to the Swamp, they have something to cheer for. They're trying to take down Goliath. Right? Whereas Alabama's buzzing through Southern Miss.
Yeah, right. I mean, I love the comment section, too. And for those of you that are listening on radio right now, Tuscaloosa, Birmingham on Jocks 2, across the state of Alabama, you got to check out the BamaInsider YouTube channel. Some really great comments, people kind of chiming in on the atmosphere in real time in Tuscaloosa. All right, Kyle, let me ask you this. You know how I feel about Bryant Denny. I think it's a great home field advantage, but it's not the best home field advantage. It could be better. Where do you think Alabama's home field advantage ranks? And I'm not talking about the fact that they've won, 39 straight or whatever it is, right?
I think in terms of the places that Alabama plays, LSU, before they, fell off the train tracks, that was certainly a tough place. Honestly, that stadium was so loud the times that, that I went to Baton Rouge, but Alabama, the times that I saw them, they didn't even score a point against Alabama. Auburn, it's the Iron Bowl. You got the War Eagle kind of flying in there. That stadium gets loud and they're mad, and it's their Super Bowl, and they don't have a lot of good things ever happen at Auburn. So every single, is something that happens against Alabama, it's really loud. Gus Malzahn was able to beat Saban, and guess what they did? They fired him.
Yeah, right.
This is the only coach that can beat Saban. What can we do? Let's fire him. That'll work. So, I think that, does Alabama have home field advantage? Of course. Is it loud? Not really. Does it need to be? Not really, because they're such a buzzsaw. Would I like it to be, louder? Yeah, sure. And Saban asked for it. So I think the fans will come with it against Ole Miss, and there's going to be a lot of screaming that you're going to have to do at that game.
We're in Tuscaloosa, and let me tell you guys, got some great events coming up here in T-Town. The Tuscaloosa Tourism and Sports Department passed on some notes for me to tell you guys about the 50th annual Kentucky Arts Festival. I can't even believe 50 of these now. That's coming up. You can find out more information by Googling the Kentucky Arts Festival. You got the Alabama Open Wheelchair Tennis Tournament coming up. That's October 7th through the 10th. They have the Alabama Farmers Market, for those of you that are in Tuscaloosa, right there at the River Market from 7 to noon on Saturdays. And something that I think is really awesome is Tuscaloosa's Civil Rights Trail, self-guided tours. It includes 18 stops in Tuscaloosa. It's a part of our history, and I'll tell you what, Tuscaloosa really has done an excellent job of telling that story. So next time you're in town, if you're watching from somewhere else, it's definitely worth checking out. Tuscaloosa Amphitheater, Santana performed last week. A bunch of great concerts are coming up there. And don't forget, if you like shows, Druid City Music Hall has some as well. Second hour of the show is coming up. Chris Lowe from ESPN will be here when we come back. The Bama Insider Tailgate Show is coming to you from Innisfree on the Strip. 2:30, Alabama, Ole Miss. It's a battle that everyone across the country wants to see. Lane Kiffin taking on Nick Saban, the sensei against the student. We'll be right back.
Yingling Traditional Lager, the beer for drinkers who know how to soar higher and spread their wings. So prepare yourself for takeoff and let your night take flight. Liftoff. When your lips meet that cold, crisp amber lager, there's no looking back. So go for glory. Tonight's about the lager, and this lager is all about soaring higher. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings. DJ Yingling and Son, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please drink responsibly.
Thinking about trading or selling your current vehicle? Make sure you get more. Barry Buckner for Tuscaloosa Hyundai. It's been an amazing year, and to keep it going, we need your car. We'll buy your car even if you don't buy one of ours, and we'll pay you more for it. Trading or selling? At Tuscaloosa Hyundai, get more. Corner of Skyland and Hargrove.
TuscaloosaHyundai.com. See dealer for vehicle value details.
The city of Tuscaloosa offers you the combination of great adventures and great overnight accommodations. From exciting sports to unbelievable history, you'll find it all in Tuscaloosa. Here for you, here for your whole family. Go hiking or mountain biking, try paddleboarding or kayaking, witness our civil rights trail or an ancient Native American city. Eat our barbecue or hamburgers, enjoy our nightlife or music scene. And when you plan your Tuscaloosa getaway, plan to stay a while. Head to visittuscaloosa.com for your free visitor's guide.
R&R Cigars invites you to the Cigar Mansion in downtown Tuscaloosa, or the newest location in Northport in the Winn-Dixie Shopping Center. Now 2 awesome locations serving Tuscaloosa and Northport. The best cigar selection and bourbon in the Southeast awaits you. R&R Cigar is your home for all sports. Outsource your man cave to R&R. Get a cigar in Yuengling for $10 when you tell them Mick sent you. 2703 6th Street, downtown Tuscaloosa near Home 2 Suites, or Northport next to Winn-Dixie. TheCigarMansion.com.
Barry Buckner for Genesis of Tuscaloosa. You've heard it said, affordable luxury. But when it comes to affordable service, every new Genesis we sell comes with 3-year, 36,000-mile complimentary service. If you want to pay more, that's your business. If you want to save, that's our business. GenesisofTuscaloosa.com.
Ownership limitations may apply. See your retailer for details. Genesis reserves the right to change program without notice. Exclusions may apply.
Big winnings are brewing at Silver Star and Golden Moon Casinos. Join us for Riches Riches this October and win your share of $50,000 in cash and bonus bet prizes. Be one of 5 lucky winners every Friday and Saturday in October. Drawings every hour from 7 p.m. until 11 p.m. where you can win $500 in bonus bet or $3,000 cash. This October, only at Silver Star and Golden Moon Casinos, Pearl River Resort Properties.
Experience the true spirit of Tuscaloosa at Hotel Indigo, downtown's first waterfront hotel overlooking the Black Warrior River. Hotel Indigo is perfectly located near a myriad of unique shops, restaurants, and the Tuscaloosa Amphitheater. You rolling with the tide? Hotel Indigo is less than a mile from the University of Alabama. The lookout bar on the roof of Hotel Indigo is the best place in Tuscaloosa to enjoy great views, appetizers, and spirits with friends. Book Hotel Indigo now and enjoy the best of Tuscaloosa.
The Great Smoky Mountains area has some of the best fall drives in the nation. One of the most interesting and beautiful of these can be found on the way to Bluff Mountain. This fall, the best view is yours on Sevierville's Bluff Mountain Fall Driving Tour. Learn more and find additional fall drives to enjoy at visitsevierville.com/fall.
Welcome back on the Bama Insider Tailgate Show. We're talking to you from Innisfree, right on the Strip in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and Ole Miss 2:30, and that's from Bryant Denny Stadium. This segment is brought to you by our good friends at Hyundai of Tuscaloosa. And at Tuscaloosa Hyundai, our buddy Barry Buckner takes really good care of you. And I promise you, you go over there, you're looking for a car, let Barry and his people give you a real good tour of what they got going on.
Thinking about trading or selling your current vehicle? Make sure you get more. Barry Buckner for Tuscaloosa Hyundai. It's been an amazing year. And to keep it going, we need your car. We'll buy your car even if you don't buy one of ours, and we'll pay you more for it. Trading or selling? At Tuscaloosa Hyundai, get more. Corner of Skyland and Hargrove.
TuscaloosaHyundai.com.
And if you got a car to sell, swing by there. They'll buy that as well. Great to talk to Chris Lowe from ESPN. He's been on our show many times. Great guy, one of the best in the business. I think he's the best in the business covering the SEC. Chris, it is great to talk to you again. Thanks for coming on.
Mick, I appreciate it, man. It's always good to catch up with you.
People know that as you watch right now on the Bama Insider YouTube channel, like and subscribe, give us a thumbs up. And if you're listening across the state of Alabama or on our flagship station in Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, Jocks 2, thanks for being here and roll tide. All right, let's get into this matchup, Chris. You've covered both of these coaches for a long time. You have a great relationship, maybe the best relationship with both guys that you could possibly have, Lane Kiffin and Nick Saban. And one of the big storylines, former assistant coming back, Lane Kiffin, one of the offensive gurus in the game. What do you think on each guy, their perspective is on this game?
I had a chance to talk to both men, and both have a lot of respect for each other's teams. I mean, and why wouldn't they? Last year, 63-48. Both teams crank out over 600 yards. Bama 700. Ole Miss 647, which is the most ever against Alabama. I mean, I didn't think I'd ever see the day, Mick, when someone would gain 647 yards against a Nick Saban defense, but yet Lane Kiffin was able to go fast enough, do enough tempo, had good enough players, and I think they're better on offense this year, Ole Miss. Matt Corral might be the best quarterback in the country. That's going to play out. I think the difference here is that Bama is still better in the lines of scrimmage. They're better up front defensively. They're better up front offensively. And I understand that Bama gave up a lot of rushing yards a couple of weeks ago against Florida. But I still think that's where the biggest gap is between these two teams, just up front. And even if Ole Miss hits some big explosive plays and scores a lot of points, I just don't know at the end of the day if Ole Miss can stop Alabama. Alabama, is through all the transformation of the offense, which really started with Lane back in 2014. Of course, that's something that Coach Saban wanted to do. It wasn't, there's sort of a narrative out there that Lane went in and, and fought with Saban and said, we need to do this, this, and this. Really, that's not what happened. Saban wanted to change. And Lane's sort of the guy he brought in to initiate that change. And they sort of both learned that offense, that version of the spread, no huddle together. And it's morphed into now the most explosive offense in college football over the last few years. So, yeah, it started back with Lane, but now it's you look at where they are now and what they've done the last few years. But the thing that hasn't changed is Bama still, when it needs to, in certain situations, the game can still line up and bloody your nose running the football.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the part of this game where I just don't know if Ole Miss is up to being able to stop that, because at some point, whether it's in the first half, the second half, at a point when Nick Saban's trying to sort of keep his defense or keep his, shorten the game a little bit and keep that Ole Miss offense off the field, I think you'll see them try to do that.
Lane Kiffin has brought kind of a different element to this game. It almost feels like a big prize fight or a big wrestling match. He's as good as it comes at, kind of trolling Nick Saban. And I think it's in fun, but there's just a different feel to this year's game. Even the years that Alabama lost to Ole Miss, 2014 and 2015, I didn't feel like there was this rivalry type vibe to it. But this year, it feels like Alabama's taking Ole Miss really seriously, and the country's paying attention.
Well, I'd take somebody seriously, too, if they rolled up 48 points and 600 yards the year before. And listen, this Alabama offense is not as good as they were last year. Nobody would be. In talking to Coach Saban last week, he pointed out the obvious. Look at all the players who were on that team last year offensively that aren't only just in the NFL now, but are starting in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Receivers and offensive linemen and Mac Jones. You go on and on and on. You just don't lose that many great players, even if you're Nick Saban, even if you're Alabama, and you've developed and coached them up the way they have, and not have some type of drop-off. Listen, Bryce Young is an incredible talent. He can throw it, moves around, really like his presence. You look around him, they're still very good. But I don't see Jalen Waddle running around. I don't see Devontae Smith or Najee Harris. Now, they have young guys who may be in that category at some point. But as they get ready to play Ole Miss Saturday, I just don't think that they're as good or explosive offensively. But I still think they're better, a good bit better than Ole Miss where it counts. And that's up front, as I said earlier, in offensive and defensive lines. And I think that's ultimately why Alabama will win this game. But I do expect Ole Miss to move the ball and score some points. And would be very surprised if we don't get to the end of the third quarter, going into the fourth quarter, that's not a really good football game.
He's Chris Lowe from ESPN. You guys know him and love him just like we do. Thanks for hanging out with us. Like and subscribe on the BamaInsider YouTube channel. Chris, you're covering the other big game in the SEC, and it's another intriguing matchup, another up-and-coming team from the West in Arkansas at Georgia. It's like an 18.5-point spread. I just don't think that it's going to be that far apart. Having watched Arkansas against Texas and Texas A&M, they're so good up front. Are you surprised at how things have shifted in the SEC West, where now Ole Miss and Arkansas have kind of become two of the teams that are at the top, and Auburn and LSU have kind of slid back, or at least it feels that way early?
No, it's a reminder, Mick, that getting the right coaching fit is everything. And clearly Sam Pittman was a great fit at Arkansas. And, in Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss with some of their personnel on offense. I remember talking to Lane. He could have had the Arkansas job. They interviewed Lane. I think they wanted him. He liked the offensive personnel better at Ole Miss and felt like that was better suited to him, an Ely and Matt Corral. But Sam Pittman wanted to be the coach at Arkansas. That's where he wanted to go. And you see that in the way his kids play. I mean, he relates well to those players. He was, I thought, really, really smart in the way he surrounded himself with experienced coaches around him, guys who maybe are a little bit different, like a Kendall Briles on offense, Barry Odom on defense, who was a former coach in this league. Some coaches, when they're first-time coaches, aren't secure enough in their skin to bring in a former head coach. And certainly Sam Pittman was. And the thing with Sam is, an old offensive line coach, his guys play smart. They play well. They play physical up front. And you think about what they've done this year. They beat Texas A&M and they beat Texas. But, Mick, they didn't beat those teams. They beat them up. They beat them up physically. And I think that's what's so impressive about it. And I think other fans from schools around the league, schools like a Tennessee, for instance, even LSU. And LSU won a national championship in 19, but they're coming off a bad year. They look at Ole Miss and they look at an Arkansas and they say, wow, these guys are in their second year. They've got it seemingly turned pretty quickly. Why can't we do that? And so I get that, but a lot of times it's getting the right coach and timing is everything. So I'm a little bit surprised, probably more so with Arkansas than Ole Miss, because I knew Lane was good enough offensively. They would score points and give people fits. They were 5-5 last year in the regular season. I guess they ended up winning 6 with a bowl game. They gave up a ton of points, but people don't remember that. They remember they scored a lot of points and they were fun to watch and entertaining. Arkansas wins 3 games last year. They really could have easily won 2 or 3 more in an all SEC schedule in a COVID year. But I think you got to go back and look at what coaches inherit. Sam Pittman came to Arkansas, and I think they'd lost 19 straight SEC games. I mean, they were the tank. And he came in, got those kids to believe again, playing hard, playing smart. And I still think it goes back to the way they've been able to play really physical football up front on both sides. And defensively, if you watch them play, they've been smart. Barry Odom's been smart. They haven't given up a lot of explosive plays. They've been able to keep things in front of them. And that's going to be a challenge because Georgia, you can make a case. And I'm not saying, because I never wanted to say 4 games in who's the best team in the country, because it always changes once we get to November. But you can certainly make a case, and I think it probably is a very strong case, Mick, that the most dominant team in college football at this point has been Georgia. They sort of grinded one out against a Clemson team, but maybe it's not as good as we thought they were. But their last few games, they've just pounded people and been just a terror on defense and scored a lot of points on offense. So I'm like you. I don't know if this is going to be a 3-touchdown game. I just don't think Arkansas is quite ready to go into Sanford Stadium and win. But I do think physically they may provide as big a challenge to Georgia as they face this season.
Chris, what are you working on and where can people read it?
Well, ESPN.com, at CeeLo ESPN is my Twitter handle. We just rolled out a big story on Kiffin and Saban today, just their first year together, sort of how that whole transformation of the offense began back in 2000, really the end of 2013 on into 14. And 2 guys that are about as different as you could get, but really I think 2 guys that are smart enough and savvy enough that they learn from each other. And I think Lane going to spend that time with Coach Saban in a lot of ways, I won't say saved his career, but certainly resurrected his career as a head football coach. And I think Lane's ability to think offensively and how bright he is offensively and to put stuff in helped Nick Saban transform that offense into what it is today. And I'm not saying he's the reason, Lane Kiffin, that Alabama is what they are now offensively, but he was the guy that Saban handpicked to come in there and sort of ignite that transformation. So that's up there today. We'll be taking a look at the Texas OU game next week. Luke Brockermeyer at Texas, the other Brockermeyer, I guess you could say, is 2 brothers at Alabama, on both freshmen, son of Blake Brockermeyer, former NFL player, and several other things down the road we got coming up. But it's great to be with you. And I don't know about you, man, but it sure is nice to be looking at college football the way, or at least closer to the way we all love it. And that's stands packed and fans there and tailgating and just the pageantry that makes college football the sport that it is.
Yeah, no doubt. It's going to be exciting to see what Tuscaloosa and Bryant Denny Stadium look like when Alabama and Ole Miss kick off at 2:30. Chris, man, really appreciate having you on. You are the best, and let's get together again sometime soon. Chris Lowe from ESPN. When we come back, Jeff Cameron and I will make our picks this week. The Odds segment brought to you by Pearl River Resort. Right.
Yingling Traditional Lager, the beer for drinkers who know how to soar higher and spread their wings. So prepare yourself for takeoff and let your night take flight. Liftoff. When your lips meet that cold, crisp amber lager, there's no looking back. So go for glory. Tonight's about the lager, and this lager is all about soaring higher. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings. DJ Yingling & Son, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please drink responsibly.
Thinking about trading or selling your current vehicle? Make sure you get more. Barry Buckner for Tuscaloosa Hyundai. It's been an amazing year, and to keep it going, we need your car. We'll buy your car even if you don't buy one of ours, and we'll pay you more for it. Trading or selling? At Tuscaloosa Hyundai, get more. Corner of Skyland and Hargrove.
TuscaloosaHyundai.com. See dealer for vehicle value details.
As the Tide embarks on their journey to the next title, celebrate with Daniel A. Moore's Tributes in Oil to the 2020 championship season. Unrivaled is Moore's commemoration of Alabama's national championship beatdown of the Buckeyes. And Heisman Heights portrays Devontae Smith's one-handed catch against LSU. Available individually or as a discounted championship season bundle. Visit DanielMooreArt.com or call 1-800-735-2787 to order your heirloom quality fine art print or canvas today.
The city of Tuscaloosa offers you the combination of great adventures and great overnight accommodations. From exciting sports to unbelievable history, you'll find it all in Tuscaloosa. Here for you, here for your whole family. Go hiking or mountain biking, try paddleboarding or kayaking, witness our civil rights trail or an ancient Native American city. Eat our barbecue or hamburgers, enjoy our nightlife or music scene. And when you plan your Tuscaloosa getaway, plan to stay a while. Head to visittuscaloosa.com for your free visitor's guide.
Barry Buckner for Genesis of Tuscaloosa. You've heard it said, affordable luxury. But when it comes to affordable service, every new Genesis we sell comes with 3-year, 36,000-mile complimentary service. If you want to pay more, that's your business. If you want to save, that's our business. GenesisofTuscaloosa.com.
Ownership limitations may apply. See your retailer for details. Genesis reserves the right to change program without notice. Exclusions may apply.
Game day will never be the same because Pearl River Resort is introducing all new ways to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. This is your ticket to Vegas-style sports betting, and it's game time. Place your bets on dozens of high-impact sports matchups anytime at the Timeout Lounge. And as always, play over 1,100 Vegas-style slots, 25 table games, and our 14-table poker room. Pearl River Resort is redefining what it means to win with Sportsbook at Golden Moon Casino. We're not just fans. We're here to play.
You can't spell Alabama without the Bama. And you can't spell Floribama without the Bama. That's not the only thing that Alabama football and the Floribama have in common. There's heritage and pride. And of course, keeping the fans happy. For 57 years, this iconic honky-tonk on the Alabama state line has been keeping our customers happy with the utmost attention on customer service. Great food, live music 365 days a year, and more events than we have time to list. Get the info you need at Floribama.com. Make your plans to join us on the line.
The Great Smoky Mountains area has some of the best fall drives in the nation. One of the most interesting and beautiful of these can be found on the way to Bluff Mountain. This fall, the best view is yours on Sevierville's Bluff Mountain Fall Driving Tour. Learn more and find additional fall drives to enjoy at visitsevierville.com/fall.
Welcome back into the Bama Insider Tailgate Show from Innisfree. We're going to talk with Jeff Cameron coming up. Our Odds segment is brought to you by Pearl River Resort. But let me remind you guys that the Bama Insider Tailgate Show is always presented by Yingling Lager, America's oldest brewery. And our remote is presented by Screwball, the original peanut butter whiskey. All right, guys, you know Jeff Cameron from 93.3 in Tallahassee, the Jeff Cameron Show, or maybe you know him from Sirius XM, or maybe you know him from warchant.com, or maybe you know him from the college sports book, all over the place. Jeff, you know about golfing. I'm going to throw this up here. This segment is presented by Pearl River Resort. Dancing Rabbit is just an incredible golf course. It's one of the best, and sometimes even voted the best in Mississippi. It's called the Augusta that you can play. And right now, you spend $25 in the sports book, and you get to play Dancing Rabbit. You spend $50 in the sports book. You can play Dancing Rabbit for $25. That's a pretty good deal right there.
It's a really good deal, and I'd like to do with that.
Hey, I want to take you out there, my friend.
Let's go.
You and me need to go. We need to play golf, and we need to gamble. I think we'd have a really good weekend at the sports book in Golden Moon Casino. All right, look.
I like to do both, buddy.
No, I know. Look, so do I, right?
Yeah.
Last week, we would have actually made money over there at the sports book at the Timeout Lounge. I went 3-1, Jeff. You went 3-1. I had Notre Dame over Wisconsin. That was a good old-fashioned butt whooping, but it really was close until the end. We both had NC State over Clemson. We both won on that. That was 10. We got 10 and won the game, right? My lock of the week was Maryland over Kent State. That hit. I lost with A&M and Arkansas. You won with that game. And then your lock of the week, which I knew you were going to win with it, and you did, was Kentucky over South Carolina. So for the season right now, I'm 10-6. You're 8-8. So there's a 2-game differential as we go into week 5. And it's your time to go first. We got Arkansas at Georgia. Georgia giving up, 18 points right now? Am I right on that line?
Yeah, I'm going to double check the lines since we go live here, and it's an actual contest. We got to make sure we have that ironed out exactly what that number is.
18 and a half.
All right, 18 and a half. That seems rich. You're right. It is 18 and a half. And I'll tell you something about that game. Arkansas has been a fun team. They really have. But I think they're about to run into a different animal here. It appears to me Vegas thinks this is going to be like a 34-14 type game. If you look at the total, they feel like Georgia is an easy winner in this game. That's a lot of points. I'm going to take the points. 18 and a half just seems like too many. I think Arkansas will play inspired. They won't win the game. May very well lose by 17, but I'll take the 18 and a half points. Arkansas believes right now, and I think they'll play that way.
I'm going to give you some ammo as to why you probably made the right call here. Actually, no, I'm going to go the other way first. Arkansas 1-8 straight up in their last 9 games against Georgia, right? Georgia is 7-0 in their last 7 home games, and Georgia is 7-2 hitting the over in their last 9 games, right? The reason why I feel like you're right, though, is last year's game. Arkansas was not as good as they are this year. They were a 27.5-point underdog last year, and they lost 37-10. Okay, well, what does that matter, Mick? Well, the matter is that in the third quarter, it was a weird 10-5 score, and it was Arkansas ahead. Both of these teams have done so well against the spread this year. Georgia 3-1 against the spread. So that's 75% of their opportunities. Georgia, though, isn't as good as Arkansas. I keep finding this out the hard way because I keep betting against Arkansas. They're undefeated this year against the spread, right? And I think the reason why is that they don't give the football away a whole lot. They've only given it away 2 times, but Georgia has taken it away 9. Georgia's defense, as you know, is first nationally scoring defense. They're only allowing 5.8 points per game, which is crazy, and 66 yards on the ground. That's 5th best in the country. They're getting 2 big-time players back, NFL guys, Georgia. Darnell Washington, their tight end, and Tyke Smith, who transferred over from West Virginia. He's a defensive back. Both of those guys will go in the NFL. But the reason why I'm going to agree with you is KJ Jefferson. Yeah, I know he injured his knee last week. But look, 7 for 15, 212 yards passing. He ran for 50 yards. I like the way that he works in Treylon Burks, who was also kind of nicked up in that victory over Texas A&M. He was in a walking boot after 167 yards and a touchdown last week. But the guys almost got 400 yards and 2 touchdowns receiving. And then Arkansas's defense is what I'm really buying into, going with 18.5 points in Athens. I'm not sold on Georgia's offense yet. Remember, they didn't score a touchdown against Arkansas. And Trey Williams has really emerged as the leader on that defense for Arkansas. I really like Arkansas on the 18.5 points. We're both going to agree on that. All right, look, Cincinnati at Notre Dame, Jeff. And Cincinnati's like a 2.5 point underdog. Favorite on the road against Notre Dame. I'll go first this time. Cincinnati goes to South Bend. They already beat Indiana on the road in that same state, so they're back again, but this time they're going to face number 9 Notre Dame. The funny part about this one, Jeff, you know this, Brian Kelly came from Cincinnati. He stole Marcus Freeman, their defensive coordinator from Cincinnati, before the season, right? The other time that these two guys got together, this matchup, Notre Dame and Cincinnati, it was back when, in 1900, right? Back when the Cubs were still a really good team and Notre Dame won the game 58-0. You would think that Cincinnati and Notre Dame would play a lot, but they never play, right? But this is what makes college football great, is that this is a playoff game. And the reason why I'm not a big fan of the college football playoff expanding is because of the significance of a game like this. The winner of this game puts themselves in position to get to the college football playoff. Bearcats are 4-1 their last 5 games in non-conference affairs against the spread, but the Irish are 4-1 in their last 5 games against their conference, the AAC, and 8-2 with a winning record against those guys against the spread in the last 10 games. I'm taking Notre Dame again. I know Jack Cohen's a little bit nicked up, but Drew Pine coming off the bench can handle things. Brian Kelly knows what he's getting into. And as much as we all love Ritter and what the Bearcats bring to the table, I just think I love a home dog. I'll just put it like that.
You do love a home dog, and I haven't learned my lesson yet. I keep betting against Notre Dame. I'm going to bet against them here. I'll take Cincinnati. I'll go on the other side of this. I like the run defense for Cincinnati. Notre Dame's offensive line is in the bottom of the NCAA statistical categories right now. They're ranked somewhere around 100. If you look at advanced metrics, they've been absolutely shut down. They can't run the ball. So they're going to come into this game completely one-dimensional. And Cincinnati has a top 50 defense, top 40 defense, top 25 against the run. They're 31st in havoc rate. I think they get after the quarterback. You mentioned Jack Cohen's beat up. Bum ankle, had to come out of the game last week. I just don't think Notre Dame is going to be able to move the football. Now, I also think that Freeman will have a little something for his old team in Cincinnati, and I think this will be a low-scoring affair. I'm inclined to bet the under on this game. But as far as our competition goes, I'll have Cincinnati squeaking this one out and winning a close one in South Bend.
Going to be a great game. I can't wait to watch that game in particular, and it is what college football is all about. Here's another great game. I don't normally do this and throw Alabama up in our segment because we talk about Alabama's matchup later in the show, but this one's so intriguing that I had to put it up there. The line on this thing has just kept moving and moving and moving. I want to get it updated right now. I have it on my scorebook here. My show notes says 15.5. Now, I know that's not correct, so I'm looking at it right now. And this line started out at 17.5. It's 14.5 right now. The over-under 79.5. And, of course, I'm talking about Ole Miss at Alabama.
Yeah, great game. And I guess it's my turn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ole Miss, Alabama, great game. 17.5. You are correct. It's where it started out. Or 20 is all the way back in the offseason. 20. Then it went 17.5. Now it's 14.5, as you mentioned. Well, last year, look, you remember this game, obviously, Mick. Ole Miss scored 48 points on Alabama and still got blown out. That doesn't seem possible, right? But Matt Corral is one of the best quarterbacks in the country right now. He has not turned the football over at all. They're playing with confidence. He's 66 for 96, 997 yards passing, 9 touchdowns, no interceptions, athletic. I think Ole Miss is going to score again. Alabama struggled some against the run. Ole Miss runs it at a clip of 5.5 yards per carry. That's 18th best in the country. Alabama will win. I never bet against Alabama to win because they're always going to win, it seems. But I'll take those points and run. I'll take the 14.5. I think Ole Miss scores enough to be around.
Look, Alabama's won its last 18 in a row, right? And in their last 9 games, they're 7-2 against the spread, right? And those are SEC games I'm talking about. The Rebels, we know they lead the nation in scoring right now, 52.7 points. You wonder if that's going to be enough. Ole Miss this year has done great against the spread. They're undefeated at 2-0-1 push, but you mentioned this last week, and I corrected you, and I was actually wrong, right? Alabama scored 30 or more points now in 30 games. I went back and looked. The Notre Dame game, they scored 32. It's like unbelievable, right? It's incredible how good Alabama is. Alabama is 39-0 straight up in its last 39 home games. Now, the last loss did come to Ole Miss, right? But the Rebels are 8-2 straight up in their last 10 road games, And now that's not saying that they're the same team led by Lane Kiffin, but they've been actually really good against the spread now in their last 7 games at 5-2. I feel like I'm taking Alabama. I feel like it's going to be a high-scoring game. Look, the overs keeps on pushing up and up and up. There's no telling how many points are going to be scored. But to me, the thing that I look at with this matchup is Ole Miss's defense. They lost Jock Jones, their leading tackler last year, to Kentucky, right? Now, he was going to get maybe push back with some of the transfers that came in. They got Campbell from Maryland, who's been really good. They got all these guys that they brought in from other places. They don't have a lot of depth. We don't really know what they're going to look like against a good offense. That's the one question mark in this game. And I know Lane Kiffin has this circled. Everybody says that, and I agree. And he's great. He's a guru. He was ahead of Alabama every play last year. But don't think Nick Saban didn't notice that. And don't think Nick Saban likes all of the ribbing that he gets, the trolling that he gets from Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin's antics cost Alabama a national championship when, they had to get him off the staff before the championship game. I think Saban has a lot of respect for Lane Kiffin, but I don't know there's a lot of love there. And Alabama has proven over the course of time that they win the big game. And Lane Kiffin, on the other hand, over the course of time, as Mike Wilbon said on PTI the other day, has kind of been a clown. Now, I'm not saying I agree with that, but that's kind of, you look at Al Davis and the Raiders. You look at what happened at USC, the way that he left Tennessee, the way that he left Alabama. So you got this guy who's really smart and really amazing on one hand, and on the other hand, always seems to leave poorly. I just feel like the track mark here is Alabama wins in these situations, and Lane Kiffin loses. I'm going to take Alabama and give up the 14.5. All right, let's do our lock of the week. I'll go first. My lock of the week, and this was a hard one to pick because I wanted to take Maryland against Iowa. Couldn't do that because it's a Friday night game. So I'm taking Fresno State. I'm giving up 10.5 at Hawaii. Look, I know Hawaii beat Fresno State last year, but this is a really good nationally ranked Fresno State team that has destroyed some of the competition. They beat UCLA, the same UCLA team that ran right through Hawaii. And they did that, in Pasadena, right? Through the 5 games, Fresno State is averaging 42 points a game. They're averaging 522 yards per game, and they're throwing for almost 400 yards per game. I think that there's no chance that Hawaii is going to be able to D them up. Plus, the Bulldogs defense is only giving up 21 points per game plus, in that neighborhood. And that combination is why they're ranked right now. Also, like Jake Haener, their quarterback, 33 of 42 last week, 5 touchdowns and an interception and a come-from-behind win against UNLV. That's definitely a letdown game. Jalen Cropper's been great, 4 touchdowns for him. And I just think that going into this one, Fresno State 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 games really feels good. And then you look at Hawaii, they've been so bad, 0-5 straight up in their last 5 games when playing home against Fresno State. Give me the Dogs.
I like the pick. I'm going to go out to Corvallis, and my lock will be a surprise Oregon State team that continues to look good at 3-1 right now. By the way, Washington has been a mess. For whatever reason, they have not taken to Coach Lake yet. They can't score. I mean, the only time they scored was against the Sun Belt team in Arkansas State. I'm going to go ahead and take Oregon State and give the 2.5 to Washington. I'll give you a bonus play here if you want to. I'll take the under team total, just as an aside to let everybody know. I'll take the under team total for Washington. It's set at 27.5. I don't think they get there. I don't think they score with Oregon State. I'll take Oregon State minus 2.5 as my lock of the week.
All right, thanks, Jeff. And let me remind you guys that this segment is brought to you by Golden Moon Hotel and Casino and the Sportsbook at the Timeout Lounge, offering traditional sports betting in which guests can bet on all professional and college sport leagues. You can bet on your favorite team. You can catch the game from the comfort of our beautiful newly remodeled Timeout Lounge, 20 TVs with feeds from all the major networks, 12 state-of-the-art wager and odds boards, 3 wager stations. You want to do it in person. You got those juice bars to charge up all your tablets and phones, and all the great food that goes along with it at a sports bar. Check them out, Philadelphia, Mississippi, and the Timeout Lounge hosts the sports book. All right, Jeff, let's do it again next week, brother.
Sounds good, brother. Always appreciate it. Have fun. Enjoy the games.
Thank you. We'll be right back. More Bama Insider Tailgate Show coming up.
Yingling Traditional Lager, the beer for drinkers who know how to soar higher and spread their wings. So prepare yourself for takeoff and let your night take flight. Liftoff. When your lips meet that cold, crisp amber lager, there's no looking back. So go for glory. Tonight's about the lager, and this lager is all about soaring higher. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings. DJ Yingling & Son, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please drink responsibly.
Thinking about trading or selling your current vehicle? Make sure you get more. Barry Buckner for Tuscaloosa Hyundai. It's been an amazing year, and to keep it going, we need your car. We'll buy your car even if you don't buy one of ours, and we'll pay you more for it. Trading or selling? At Tuscaloosa Hyundai, get more. Corner of Skyland and Hargrove.
TuscaloosaHyundai.com. See dealer for vehicle value details.
R&R Cigars invites you to the Cigar Mansion in downtown Tuscaloosa, or the newest location in Northport in the Winn-Dixie Shopping Center. Now 2 awesome locations serving Tuscaloosa and Northport. The best cigar selection and bourbon in the Southeast awaits you. R&R Cigar is your home for all sports. Outsource your man cave to R&R. Get a cigar in Yingling for $10 when you tell them Mick sent you. 2703 6th Street, downtown Tuscaloosa, near Home 2 Suites, or Northport, next to Winn-Dixie. TheCigarMansion.com.
As the Tide embarks on their journey to the next title, celebrate with Daniel A. Moore's Tributes in Oil to the 2020 championship season. Unrivaled is Moore's commemoration of Alabama's national championship beatdown of the Buckeyes. And Heisman Heights portrays Devontae Smith's one-handed catch against LSU. Available individually or as a discounted championship season bundle. Visit DanielMooreArt.com or call 1-800-735-2787 to order your heirloom quality fine art print or canvas today.
Barry Buckner for Genesis of Tuscaloosa. You heard it said, affordable luxury. But when it comes to affordable service, every new Genesis we sell comes with 3-year, 36,000-mile complimentary service. If you want to pay more, that's your business. If you want to save, that's our business. GenesisofTuscaloosa.com.
Ownership limitations may apply. See your retailer for details. Genesis reserves the right to change program without notice. Exclusions may apply.
Big winnings are brewing at Silver Star and Golden Moon Casinos. Join us for Riches Riches this October and win your share of $50,000 in cash and bonus bet prizes. Be one of 5 lucky winners every Friday and Saturday in October. Drawings every hour from 7 p.m. until 11 p.m. where you can win $500 in bonus bet or $3,000 cash. This October, only at Silver Star and Golden Moon Casinos, Pearl River Resort Properties.
Do you consider yourself a black sheep, misfit, or screwball? If so, we've got the perfect drink for you. Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. Screwball combines 2 of America's favorite, peanut butter and whiskey. Enjoy it neat, on the rocks, or in your favorite cocktail. Screwball, the original most awarded peanut butter whiskey, is now available near you. Go to screwballwhiskey.com for more information. Enjoy responsibly.
Advertisement by Screwball Spirits, LLC, San Diego, California. Whiskey with natural flavors, 35% alcohol by volume.
The Great Smoky Mountains area has some of the best fall drives in the nation. One of the most interesting and beautiful of these can be found on the way to Bluff Mountain. This fall, the best view is yours on Sevierville's Bluff Mountain Fall Driving Tour. Learn more and find additional fall drives to enjoy at visitsevierville.com/fall.
Here we are back at Innisfree in Tuscaloosa. This is the Bama Insider Tailgate Show with Kyle Henderson. I'm Mick Gillispie. Show's brought to you by Yuengling Lager. And as we hang out here and get you ready for the 2:30 kickoff between Alabama and Ole Miss, you do it with a couple of cold Yuenglings. There's nothing better for you tailgate than when you show up with Yuenglings. That's like winning the football game. You show up, that's a great way to make friends.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, anytime that you have a cold Yuengling, it's absolutely makes everything a little bit elevated, especially, one of these shepherd pies that I just had here at Innisfree. So I know you went with the wings. I went with the shepherd's pie, and a Yuengling certainly washes everything down nicely.
Look at that wing right there. For those of you that are hanging out with us on the Bama Insider YouTube channel, hit the bell, subscribe. That's how you say Roll Tide to us. And I know a lot of you guys are listening right now on Jocks 2, our flagship station, Birmingham, Tuscaloosa. Maybe you're driving in for the game today. Roll Tide, everybody. Thanks for joining us. This is the Bama Insider Tailgate Show. And across the state of Alabama, whether you're going to be here or not, we appreciate you being here with us. All right, let's talk about this game. And let me say something else, Kyle. Very shortly, Tripp is going to be coming through here with a couple of screwball shots. The remote's brought to you by Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey, all right? But let's talk about this football game. We haven't even gotten into this yet, and it's one of the biggest storylines of the game. Bryce Young versus Matt Corral, two of the top contenders for the Heisman.
Yeah, I mean, Bryce Young, the way he's been playing early on has been really special. Alabama football released a video on Twitter that I think everybody saw, and it was talking about blocking out the noise and kind of blocking out that outside, kind of noise that can sometimes get to you when you're playing at this level. You start reading into the news clipping, you start reading into you start watching Bama Insider, right? You're trying to stay away from that
rat poison.
Yeah, right, Mr. Rat Poison. But I think the one thing that has impressed me about Bryce, and I'm really thankful for the opportunities that we've had with the media availability to talk with him, because he's so well-spoken, so poised, and we've seen that from the quarterbacks that have been recently at Alabama, right? You look at Mac Jones, how he conducted himself. You look to Tua. Those guys they had ice-cold veins, and I'm starting to sense that from Bryce Young as well. On the flip side, you have Matt Corral. Look, I play DraftKings, and you can kind of build out your fantasy slate. He's averaging 42 fantasy points per game. I think a lot of people forget the fact that he's probably one of the best running quarterbacks in the country. He has 5 rushing touchdowns as well. So I think he could be a problem in terms of using his legs. It's going to be up to those inside linebackers to carry out their cues. Henry To'oTo'o, Christian Harris, you got to have a fantastic game from those two. They struggled against Florida. I'm worried. If you're an Alabama fan, I lost the signal. I think I'm back.
Yeah, you're here.
Right. So I'm worried if you're an Alabama fan, because you kind of looked at that game against Florida. You looked at the running production that Florida posted against Alabama, and Ole Miss running game, I think, led by Lane Kiffin, I think could be even more dangerous going into this game.
All of you guys that are hanging out with us in the column and the comment section on the Bama Insider YouTube channel, thank you for being there. Roll Tide out to Foster, and thank you to Richard for hitting us up with a super chat, a high five, and we appreciate that as well. And the super chat is where you send us a little tip to go along with the game. All right, where do you give Alabama the edge in the game?
I mean, we talked about it a little bit. The home field advantage, I think, plays a big role into this. You got to see Bryant Denny really erupt. You got to see them get behind this team and make it hard for Matt Corral and this up-tempo offense to get things going. I think you also look to the fact that Nick Saban can keep this team dialed in a big-time atmosphere. I think the one thing that really helped Alabama against going into Week 5 is the fact that they went down to Florida, played against a very good Florida team, and won with a swamp. I think they figured out that this team can win in tight games. And look, the game against Ole Miss is going to be tight. There's going to be a lot of points, but I think considering, they got home field advantage, I think that plays a big role into it. This is the industry cam.
Come on in, Tripp. Look, guys.
Screwball shots.
We've got to call a timeout here. Richard, thank you for the super chat again, coming back at us. And now we throw Tripp in here. Tripp, you got to stand right there so everybody can see you in action. Look at this guy. He's got his family here. This is the guy, the master behind this monster that we know is Innisfree right here. In a screwball shot, brand new Fireball.
We all chip in to make it work.
Hey,
and I'm telling you, if you're around the Tuscaloosa area, before you get to Bryant Denny Stadium, you got to come to Innisfree. You got to get the shepherd's pie. Tell them Kyle sent you. Drink a Yingling. Take a shot of peanut butter whiskey. Enjoy it.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide, my
to you,
friend,
man.
to a big weekend here in Tuscaloosa.
Whew.
Take down Joey Freshwater tomorrow.
We're going to try to, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you, Chip, for everything.
There he is. Look, I know we had to call a timeout. We're back in action now. And we got to pick it up right where we left off. Thank you guys that are hanging out with us on the Bama Insider YouTube channel. And for those of you that are listening right now, Roll Tide, this is how we do it in Tuscaloosa. This is a tailgate show, Kyle.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing. We're tailgating. All right. Things to watch. I know you love doing this. Things to watch.
I think you got to watch for the tempo of this game. Is it going to be a street fight? Is Lane Kiffin going to be able to take it right to Alabama? Is Alabama going to punch right back? I think because last year we saw it turn into a street fight almost immediately. Is it going to be that same type of game? I think, the past doesn't always dictate the future, but I think in this case it certainly does. You look to Alabama's offense. I think they are high-powered. I think that this team has the components to get, that offense going. Look, the offense is still doing what we've seen the offense do in the past. It might be a little unorthodox because the wide receivers haven't been getting into the end zone as much as maybe so the tight ends. But I think the running game, I think Jace McClellan is certainly a back that is going to cause a problem for Ole Miss. We talk about Jace all the time, and I know Roydell, he did great, and we're still trying to figure out what's going on with Trey Sanders. But I think Jace McClellan really steps up in this game. Still waiting to see from Brian Robinson. I know he's listed as probable. I think he's going to be good to go, but Jace McClellan certainly a guy to watch.
Well, I'll tell you this right now. We appreciate everyone at Hyundai of Tuscaloosa Hyundai right there, Skyland and Hargrove Road for making this show possible. Great sponsor. If you're tailgating, you want a good vehicle to go tailgate in, and you need to go check them out. Barry Buckner and the gang over there will take great care of you, and trust me, I'm going to bring Barry on this show soon. I mean, he's a man of the people and a great guy. Hey, when we come back, we're going to pick this game, if you can believe it. Our final segment is coming up. It's flown by. It's flown by. Kyle Henderson, Mick Gillispie, the Bama Insider Tailgate Show rolls on right after this.
Yingling Traditional Lager. The beer for drinkers who know how to soar higher and spread their wings. So prepare yourself for takeoff and let your night take flight. When your lips meet that cold, crisp amber lager, there's no looking back. So go for glory. Tonight's about the lager, and this lager is all about soaring higher. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings. DJ Yingling and Son, Pottsville, Pennsylvania. Please drink responsibly.
Big winnings are brewing at Silver Star and Golden Moon Casinos. Join us for Witches Riches this October and win your share of $50,000 in cash and bonus bet prizes. Be one of 5 lucky winners every Friday and Saturday in October. Drawings every hour from 7 p.m. until 11 p.m. where you can win $500 in bonus bet or $3,000 cash. This October, only at Silver Star and Golden Moon Casinos, Pearl River Resort Properties.
R&R Cigars invites you to the Cigar Mansion in downtown Tuscaloosa, or the newest location in Northport in the Winn-Dixie Shopping Center. Now 2 awesome locations serving Tuscaloosa and Northport. The best cigar selection and bourbon in the Southeast awaits you. R&R Cigar is your home for all sports. Outsource your man cave to R&R. Get a cigar in Yingling for $10 when you tell them Mick sent you. 2703 6th Street, downtown Tuscaloosa near Home 2 Suites, or Northport next to Winn-Dixie. TheCigarMansion.com.
Experience the true spirit of Tuscaloosa at Hotel Indigo, downtown's first waterfront hotel overlooking the Black Warrior River. Hotel Indigo is perfectly located near a myriad of unique shops, restaurants, and the Tuscaloosa Amphitheater. You rolling with the tide? Hotel Indigo is less than a mile from the University of Alabama. The lookout bar on the roof of Hotel Indigo is the best place in Tuscaloosa to enjoy great views, appetizers, and spirits with friends. Book Hotel Indigo now and enjoy the best of Tuscaloosa.
The Great Smoky Mountains area has some of the best fall drives in the nation. One of the most interesting and beautiful of these can be found on the way to Bluff Mountain. This fall, the best view is yours on Sevierville's Bluff Mountain Fall Driving Tour. Learn more and find additional fall drives to enjoy at visitsevierville.com/fall.
The world-famous Floribama has been serving up the good times and good music since 1964. And after 57 years, we're not even close to slowing down. There's live music 365 days a year and big events all year long, including the Frank Brown International Songwriters Festival. Mark your calendar and make plans to join us on the line November 4th through the 14th for a music lovers event like no other. You'll hear the stories behind the songs from the songwriters themselves. It's a full 10 days of incredible entertainment. Make plans to join us and get all the info online at frankbrownsongwriters.com.
Right at the end of the show. There he is, Kyle Henderson and Mick Gillispie hanging out with you here at Innisfree in Tuscaloosa. This is the Bama Insider Tailgate Show, and we talk to you from Tuscaloosa tonight and get ready for Alabama and Ole Miss, a 2:30 matchup. This one feels like, I'm telling you, it feels like a really, really fun, big-time game environment, and our show is presented in part by R&R Cigars. We invite you to the Cigar Mansion in downtown Tuscaloosa or the newest location in Northport. 2 locations serving Tuscaloosa and Northport. Best cigar selection and bourbon selection in the Southeast awaits you. R&R Cigar is your home for all sports. Outsource your man cave to R&R. Get a cigar and a Yingling for $10 when you tell them that Mick sent you. That's 2703 6th Street, downtown Tuscaloosa, near Home to Suites. CigarMansion.com. And don't forget 2 locations, Tuscaloosa and Northport, right there in the Winn-Dixie Shopping Center. He's Kyle Henderson. I'm Mick Gillispie. And again, if you're watching on the Bama Insider YouTube channel, like, subscribe, hit the bell. And if you're listening on Jocks 2, our flagship station, Tuscaloosa, Birmingham, maybe you're heading into the game right now. Roll Tide, everybody. Be careful, be safe, and let's have a really fun kickoff today. Ole Miss and Alabama at 2:30. All right, Kyle, let's kind of polish off our final thoughts on today's game.
Yeah, well, I mean, it comes down to Lane Kiffin versus Pete Golding. I think you look at the offensive production versus Ole Miss, which we continue to talk about, and you look at Pete Golding. I mean, is Pete Golding, is he going to have this defense, along with Nick Saban, are they going to have this defense dialed in to stop this high potent quarterback and running back combination? I think these running backs are very dangerous. What they did last year was really unacceptable. You can't have that type of production in the SEC against a quality opponent like this. Lane Kiffin is coming to try to be that first coach to the first former assistant to beat Nick Saban. 23-0. I cannot believe that stat. I'm watching the continue to play and progression of Bryce Young. I'm looking for Jaleel Billingsley to have a big game. Cameron Latu, look for him as well. 2 tight ends that have really helped become kind of the anchors of this receiving unit these last couple games. So a lot to go into it, and I know we're going to make our picks eventually, right?
Yeah, this is the time.
This is it. Yeah, well, go ahead.
All right, look, first I want to tell you that, and for those of you that are watching, you're seeing the Innisfree camera. Thank you to Screwball, all the gang there. We've got so many Screwball T-shirts and bandanas, all the swag, and we got all the Yingling swag right now. We got koozies, we got pens, we got T-shirts. It's been a lot of fun. Like even Pearl River Resort chipped in some koozies. People have been coming by, and then you can watch the table on the video as people come by and take stuff. And they'll carry that with them throughout their tailgate experience. We even got sunglasses with Screwball in there. You know that, Kyle. All right, let me talk about this game. First off, I have a lot of respect for Lane Kiffin's coaching ability. I think he's a genius. I think that he's one of the best, maybe the best play caller. He sees the game different than most people. But he's a flawed genius, like he's a self-destructor. Like this guy
aren't all geniuses self-destruction?
Right, I know. I mean, this guy could overtake Nick Saban. He could overtake anyone. I mean, like if he would have been focused from the time that he was young. I mean, he was the Raiders head coach, and he was just a kid. Yeah. And it's like he just everywhere he goes, it's like he's so good and yet so bad at the same time. And I didn't disagree with Michael Wilbon when he said he was a clown. I don't think it's that. I think that you look at his track record and the missteps that he causes himself, and you're like, man, if this guy just ever got focused, well, maybe he's focused now. Maybe he is. I mean, what he's doing at Ole Miss, he's making them a national contender. They win this football game, and they're going to be in the mix for the college football playoff with a lot less talent than Alabama. I just don't think that's going to happen today. I don't think Lane Kiffin's going anywhere. And I think that, like, USC's probably out there going, hey, the best guy for our job is Lane Kiffin. Oh, didn't we have him? We left him on the tarmac, That's the crazy thing about this guy. He's so good. but I don't think it's going to happen today. I think Alabama's got more talent. Just like I said to Jeff Cameron, I think they'll cover the 14.5. I wouldn't be surprised if Matt Corral has one bad half of football, and I think if he has a bad half of football in Tuscaloosa, it's going to be enough to knock them out of the game. But I don't think no matter what happens in this game that we've heard the last of Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss. I just feel really good about Alabama today.
I think it's going to be super tight. I mean, I'm buying into everything. I'm buying into the tightness. I know that, there's 14 points. And look, Vegas, just as Jeff Cameron said, Vegas didn't build all these buildings just because, they're losing. I mean, they know what's going on. 14 points is a lot. I think it's going to be really tight. I think it's going to be a thrilling ending. I'm taking Alabama. Did you even give a score? You said Alabama.
I think Alabama's going to cover 14.5.
Wow.
So let me give a score. Well, you go first and I'll give a score. I got to think of my score.
And I guess by tight, you kind of look at You look at, the score prediction, you kind of look into the total points, which is 70. So I'm going to go Alabama 42, and I'm going to go Ole Miss. Let's do 38.
Yeah, I think that's a good score.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's in there.
Yeah.
Look, I think it's going to be something like 52 to 35. I think Ole Miss is, I think Alabama will just outscore them just like they did last year, but that Ole Miss will do some things well. And I think by the time – if they start slow, it'll be too little, too late. I don't think Alabama's going to turn I don't think they're going to turn back like they did against Florida and take their foot off the gas. I think they're going to push forward. They're focused on this game. I've been around Alabama football for a long time, Kyle. I mean, I'm going back to when I was a student at Alabama and Gene Stallings was the coach. I don't ever remember looking at Ole Miss and thinking, okay, even the 2 years they lost, 14 and 15, thinking, okay, this is an Ole Miss team we really got to worry about. They lost those games. I wasn't that worried about them. This team I look at, I have a lot of respect for where they're at right now. I think they're dangerous, and I think they're a real contender for the SEC West.
One more question. I'm asking this to everybody, whether you're listening on radio or you're watching on YouTube. If Alabama is able to beat Ole Miss and they're able to hold Ole Miss to, let's say, under 28 points, are people going to give Pete Golding the credit on that, or is it going to be something else? I want to find out after the game, because so much criticism has been on Pete Golding.
Right, and after the game, I'm going to be at Westgate Luxury Condominium with Trey Hannity. Kyle will be there as well. We'll have Nick Saban's post-game conference, press conference. We'll have your calls. We'll talk about it. We'll break down the entire matchup, stats, and all of that on the BamaInsider YouTube channel. You bring up a really good point, and we'll talk about it after the game, Kyle. Hey, look. Our good friend Leonard is coming up next with Leonard's Loser. That does it for our show tonight. And, man, we appreciate all of you guys being here. We'll do it next week from the Floribama. We'll be at the Floribama 6 to 8 next week in Perdido Key in Orange Beach for our entire crew. Kyle Henderson, awesome. Always awesome hanging out with you, brother. I mean show. That. It's so much fun, man. I'm so glad you're here at Innisfree Trip and the entire crew here. I'm Mick Gillispie. Thanks for checking out our show. And don't forget, Leonard's Losers coming up. Roll Tide, everybody.
Well, howdy, fans, and welcome to Week 5 of Leonard's Losers. The little smart pill machine was smoking last week at 19-5, so let's roll before she cools off. Arkansas versus Georgia. It's hogs and dogs as these two undefeated teams tussle between the hedges in this ESPN College Game Day nooner. The Red Clay Hounds defense has yielded 16 points in 4 games and riding the number 2 pony in the polls, while the Razorbacks have upset wins over Texas and Texas A&M, holding the number 11 spot. The R-backs present a clear and present danger to UGA and the Dogs' best hunker between the hedges. Leonard's Loser in a close one, Arkansas. Cincinnati versus Notre Dame. The number 8 Bearcats amble to South Bend looking to claw a number 12 Leprechaun. With a victory over Wisconsin last week, Irish coach Brian Kelly became the all-time leader for wins in South Bend. Cats head mentor Luke Fickell arguably faces the biggest game of his 3-year tenure. Cincinnati is a solid top 10 team, yielding 15 points per game and piling up 45 points per game. The Pope's pupils will have to improve their rushing yardage from last Saturday against Wisconsin, which was 3 yards, but not so fast, my friends. Leonard's loser in a close one, Cincinnati. Ole Miss versus Alabama. The Rebels marched to Tuscaloosa for this Saturday afternoon shootout on CBS. Ole Miss quarterback Matt Corral and Tide signal caller Bryce Young are both legitimate Heisman candidates, and this one should be a high-scoring affair. The undefeated Tide is riding atop the college football world, and Tony the Landshark is undefeated coming off a bye week. Rumors are swirling about the possibility of an upset here, but don't think the Rebels can poach a pachyderm at home. Leonard's loser in a close one, Ole Miss. Well, fans, that does it for Week 5. And remember, if you can't wear a smile, wear a white hat so we can tell you from the bad guys. Get me out of here, Percy.
When we say goodbye to a new owner at Genesis of Tuscaloosa, we are very sincere. They may never have to come back to the dealership. With our Genesis Valet service, we pick up your vehicle at your home or office and return it after the service. And all maintenance performed by our service department is ranked #1 in the nation. Genesis of Tuscaloosa, you're going to like buying a car here. GenesisofTuscaloosa.com.
This isn't just a beer. It's a lager. A medium-bodied, amber-colored, one-of-a-kind beer. Made from those bold enough to brew it, for those bold enough to drink it. Elevate your taste. Yingling Traditional Lager. Spread your wings.
Thinking about trading or selling your current vehicle? Make sure you get more. Barry Buckner for Tuscaloosa Hyundai. It's been an amazing year, and to keep it going, we need your car. We'll buy your car even if you don't buy one of ours, and we'll pay you more for it. Trading or selling? At Tuscaloosa Hyundai, get more. Corner of Skyland and Hargrove.
TuscaloosaHyundai.com.